Let's do a review of polynomials. This goes with section 1.4 in your textbook, and all of this is things you should have learned last year in grade 10 math. Let's start off by just doing some adding and subtracting. And we're just going to work our way through some examples. So in our first example, we have 2x squared plus 3x minus 5. Notice that's all in brackets because that's showing one polynomial, more specifically a trinomial. And then we're going to add bracket 7x squared minus 2x plus 3, and then close bracket. So we have one trinomial plus another trinomial. Now when there is a plus sign or an addition sign in front of a bracket, it's not going to change any of the signs that are inside the brackets. So for our first line, we can just take away all of our brackets. Now the second thing we're going to do is we are going to collect our like terms. So 2x squared and plus 7x squared, those are like terms. Remember, the sign in front of the term goes with the term. We have a plus 3x and a minus 2x, those are like terms. And we have a minus 5 and a plus 3, and those are like terms as well. So we're going to do 2x squared plus 7x, which gives us 9x squared. Then we have 3x minus 2x, which just gives us 1x. And we have negative 5 plus 3, which gives us negative 2. And we don't really need to write that 1 in front of the x. It's understood that there is a 1 there when we don't see any number there. And there is our final answer. So we want to make sure that we are collecting like terms. That's our key takeaway here. Let's do another example. This time we will work with some subtraction. So we have 3x squared minus 4x plus 1 minus bracket 2x squared plus 3x minus 6. So we have a trinomial minus another trinomial. Now in this case, we have a subtraction sign in front of the brackets. So this subtraction sign is going to change the sign of every term in the brackets. You can also think of it as multiplying everything in the brackets by negative 1. So now I'm going to rewrite this without brackets, but with applying that negative sign to all the terms in the second bracket. So we have 3x squared minus 4x plus 1 minus 2x squared minus 3x and then plus 6. So all of our three last terms had their signs changed. Now I'm going to collect like terms just like I did in the question above, making sure that the sign in front of the term goes with the term. So we have 3x squared minus 2x squared. That gives us 1x squared. And we have negative 4x minus 3x. That gives us minus 7x. And then we have a plus 1 plus 6, which gives us plus 7. Now let's look at multiplying polynomials. And when we are multiplying polynomials, what we are doing is we are expanding and simplifying. So expand means to multiply out, and then we will simplify by collecting our like terms. So here's our third example. We have 3x plus 2 times 5x minus 7. So we have a binomial times a binomial, and we're going to use what we call FOIL to do this. And FOIL is just a short form for the order within which we are going to do our multiplication, because we need to make sure that everything in the second set of brackets is multiplied by everything in the first set of brackets. So FOIL is short for first, outside, or outer, and then inside or inner, and last. So we're going to multiply in that order, and I'm going to use some arrows as we do that. So we're going to do first, which means we're going to do 3x times 5x. We're going to do outside, so that means 3x times negative 7. And notice I'm always going to put a plus sign in between those pairs that are being multiplied together. That way we don't accidentally double up on a negative sign or miss a negative sign altogether. So we've done first, we've done outside, now we're going to do inside. So we're going to do positive 2 times 5x. And lastly, we are going to do positive 2 times negative 7. Oops. And now we're actually going to multiply all these pairs together. So 3x times 5x gives us 15x squared. 3x times negative 7 gives us negative 21x. 2 times 5x gives us 10x. And 2 times negative 7 gives us negative 14. And we just need to collect our like terms, and we have those two like terms right in the middle here. So we end up with 15x squared minus 11x minus 14. And one little thing that I do want you to recall, and hopefully most of you actually remember this, is just when we're multiplying our variables together. So if we have x times x, this is the same as x to the power of 1 times x to the power of 1. And when we multiply like bases, so our x's, we are going to add the exponent. So this is equal to x to the power of 1 plus 1, which gives us x squared. Okay, so just a little side note there in case you have forgotten things. Let's do one more example here. So we are given 3 times x minus 1 squared minus, this is a long one, 1 minus x plus x squared times 1 plus 2x. Okay, so we have lots of things going on here. So we have that 3 times x minus 1 squared. And I'm going to put some square brackets. Oops. Let's put our square brackets right there. So I'm going to deal with what's inside those red square brackets before I multiply by 3. And that is going to remind me that with BEDMAS we do exponents first. So we end up with 3 times x minus 1 times x minus 1. And now let's look at what is going on with the second chunk of our question. So we have a trinomial times a binomial. So that means that everything in our second set of brackets is being multiplied by everything in the first set of brackets. Right, so I will draw in a few arrows. It's going to get a little squishy though. So we'll be doing 1 times 1 and 1 times 2. We'll be doing negative x times 1 and negative x times 2. And we'll be doing positive x squared times 1 and positive x squared times 2x. So let us do that. And we're going to also treat this as if there's some big square brackets around all of that so that we are applying our negative sign onto all of it. So minus square bracket, 1 times 1 plus 1 times 2x plus 1, plus negative x times 1 plus negative x times 2x plus x squared times 1, and I can't fit it all in, plus x squared times 2x. So this is a long, long question. All right, let us go back to the beginning. So if we do FOIL in our first set of square brackets, we end up with x squared minus x, and then plus 1. Okay, so that's x times x, and then negative 1 times x, and then x times negative 1, and then negative 1 times negative 1. And now we're going to start multiplying everything that is in our second set of square brackets. 1 times 1 gives us 1. 1 times 2x gives us 2x. Negative x times 1 gives us negative x. Negative x times 2x gives us negative 2x squared. And then we have x squared times 1, so that just gives us x squared. And then x squared times 2x gives us 2x cubed. All right, so now we're going to simplify in our square brackets by collecting our like terms. And in our second set of square brackets, we end up with 1 plus x minus x squared plus 2x cubed. All right, now our next line, we are going to multiply everything in our first set of square brackets by 3, and then everything in our second set of square brackets, we are going to apply that negative sign. So we end up with 3x squared minus 6x plus 3. And now we have minus 1 minus x plus x squared minus 2x cubed. Okay, so that negative sign in front of the second set of square brackets changes the sign of all of the terms in the square brackets. Now we're going to collect our like terms. So we start off with our negative 2x cubed. There are no other terms with an x cubed. Then we have 3x squared plus x squared. That gives us 4x squared. Now we have negative 6x and negative x. That's going to give us negative 7x. And lastly, we have a positive 3 and a negative 1. So that's going to give us plus 2. And there we have our final answer. Negative 2x cubed plus 4x squared minus 7x plus